Hey there, welcome to another tutorial. We're going to work on a portrait sketch together, starting with a conte or charcoal pencil and an oval shape. On it, we will have a round shape, a circle, to show the skull, and then lower we have the lines for the jaw. Use the back and forth hand movements with minimum hand pressure. And now we need to draw the central axis line like this, passing right in the middle of the face. It's one of the most important guiding lines we have in our work. Later you will see why. And now it's time to add the rest of the guiding lines. Consider the curved shape of it because it's going to show the direction of the face, and these lines are for the eyes, the eyebrows, the nose and the lips, and between the lines for the eyes and the nose we will have the right placement for the ears. Now we know approximately where each of the parts are going to be. For instance, this is the line for the eyes. As you see, we have one eye on either side. Make sure the line is accurate and the shape is correct. And now we are going to determine the right place for the eyes. Consider not only the eyes, but the eye as a whole, the eye socket with the eyelids, the iris, the white part of the eye, everything. We are still using minimum hand pressure. Try to maintain this minimum hand pressure. And above the eye, we have the eyebrow. Notice the very low hand pressure. And this way we can keep coming back to the forms and modify them. This is the upper eyelid. We complete the form of the eye. And for the nose, we can use another shape to simplify it. And consider that the portrait is looking up, so everything will be in perspective and we will have a better view of the nose, so we would see more parts of it. But we start with this shape. It's like a pentagon. You see, we're looking from down, so we see more parts, especially on the nose. Now we're adding the nostrils. Keep the low hand pressure. It is also good to have the reference picture in front of you so you can constantly check the process of the work with it. In this way we can train our eyes to see and transfer. Lower we have the lips. Start with the line for the upper lip and then the line in the middle. See how the vertical axis line is passing through the nose and the lips. It's right in the middle of them. Working on the lips, consider the forms but with low hand pressure so you can modify them later if you need it. And now we are adding the nose blades, darkening the nostrils a bit so we see the forms better. Instead of adding more hand pressure, try using the back and forth hand movements and gradually make the parts darker. In this way you will have more control over what you're adding to the work. Back to the nose, complete the form by adding the lines for the bridge of the nose. As you know, it leads to the eyes. And now we can actually use what we have already drawn to complete the rest of the parts. Take a step back and look at what you have drawn till now to consider how you need to complete it. The right eye is our guide now. We first determine the right place for the left eye, considering the central axis line and also the right eye that we've drawn. You see the distance between the two eyebrows and the two eyes with the central axis lines, they're all equal. This is how the guiding lines will help us. As it was mentioned, this vertical axis line needs to be right in the middle of the face and all the features. And now, just as we worked on the right eye, we will work on the left eye. This is the shape of the scalp. We can continue it upwards to complete the forms. And then we continue down to form the jaw. Consider being in the perspective, as I mentioned. We can see a very firm jaw. And then when it comes to the chin, it becomes narrower. Okay, and now on the other side, we will work in the exact same way. What we see on the right side, we will see on the left side as well. Now that we are sure about the lines, we can add a bit to our hand pressure to emphasize them. We keep coming back to the different parts we have worked to complete the forms step by step, so the whole portrait shapes at the same time. Okay, this is the jawline. You see how firm it is? With lines as easy as this, we show the neck. And the whole face, the general form of it is formed, as you can see. And adding the neck actually completes the forms. We need to consider the general parts and also each of the features. It's a work in progress. Simple lines like this can show the hair. Later we will come back to it. And now it's time to work a bit more on the eyes and define the forms. Start with the upper eyelid, the iris, and the pupil. A side note is that the pupil is usually the darkest part of the work, so feel free to add to your hand pressure. We need to make the upper eyelid darker to define the forms. And the outer corner of the eye as well. For the eyebrows and the strands of hair on it, it's better to use simple hatching lines like this, and these hatching lines change direction and continue on the upper eyelid. They have somehow a triangular shape up here to show the concavities and convexities better. This is the white part of the eye, and it is the negative space between the darker and the lighter part that shows the forms better. So we need to consider all of them. And now it's time to move on to the next eye and work on it in the exact same way as we did for the right one. This side of the face, the left side, is a bit lower than the right one. Actually, the face is a bit angled. And these are the small details that will add a lot to the work, and we need to consider them. That's why I'm telling you that it's important to carefully observe both the sample and the reference. Keep comparing them. It's the lines for the upper eyelid, and again the hatching lines on the eyebrow. Adding the pupil and the form of the iris. As you see, I am constantly comparing the left eye with the right, And I have the sample in front of me. Make sure you have it too. Step by step, build on your layers. One by one, add more to them. Some hatching lines on the upper eyelid. And now it's time to move on to the nose. Again, we're adding hatching lines in accordance with the forms, considering how the forms are in perspective to add the proper shading layers. The nostrils are also very dark compared to the rest of the parts. This is with these shading layers and hatching lines that we can define the forms. Use the sharp tip of your pencil for them. Back to the lips. Emphasize the forms by making your lines darker. And these are the hatching lines we need to add in accordance with the form of the lips. And now, this is the philtrum. We have some concavities here, we show with some hatching lines. The concave parts are going to be darker, so we add the proper lines or shading layers for them. Let your eyes travel through the different parts at different stages of the work. And work on the different parts simultaneously. Working on the lips, we need to make the middle line darker and bolder. And now we're going to work on the lines for the hair. It's like simple hatching lines but with more hand pressure. And it's time for the ears. With the shape of the head and the position of it, we cannot see the complete form of the ears, just some parts of it, and we're going to add just a bit to show the right placements and the right forms. More hatching lines on this side as well to show the form of the face. You might think that these hatching lines will make the work look old, maybe, but that's not the case. First of all, we're using minimum hand pressure, especially compared to the hand pressure we used for the main parts. And we are using various lines, curved lines, vertical lines, horizontal lines, and the combination of these lines with the way we have sketched the face help us show the forms better, and they won't look like wrinkles. Do not be afraid to draw your lines. They will add to the beauty of the work. They will also help the eyes of the viewer to wander through the work, and it's very important. So it puts emphasis on different parts and makes it harmonious. And now we're going to add the lines on the forehead and continue down. Notice how the lines are very close to one another on the top and on the chin, but in the middle this gap increases. We are actually showing directions for the eyes of the viewers to see the work better. And also we are showing which parts of the works are more prominent, which is the middle of the face, and it's because of the position of the head. One more time, we are going to observe the different parts all together and add more touches to it. On the parts we want to be darker, we are going to add one more layer, and also we need to look and see which details need to be more prominent, like popping up as someone looks at them, like the eyes. So we use more hand pressure, the tip of the pencil, and work more on the darker parts of the eyes, like the jawline, which is very prominent, these lower parts of the ears, again, take a step back and look at it in general. These observations and comparisons, they're all very important. Never ever be afraid of drawing your lines. And this is it for this video. Thank you for watching and I hope you enjoyed it. You can learn more in our upcoming courses. So stay tuned, keep practicing, and see you next time. Bye bye.